You're listening to the Board Game Snobs podcast, a ridiculous podcast with ridiculous hosts that discuss ridiculous things. And any mention of board games is purely coincidental. And so, without further ado, and with a heavy dollop of shame and embarrassment on my part, I give you the Board Game Snobs.
Welcome back to the Board Game Snobs podcast. I'm your host, your primary host, Gaby. Maybe you should be called Board Game Snobs and Board Game Snob and Friends.
No, that would be against the Trade Descriptions Act. Acquaintances, maybe.
Board Game Snob and other content creators.
Yes, willing to come on. That's the.
With me today, Sir Dan CoraQuest Hughes. Hello, Dan.
Primary guest, Sir Dan CoraQuest. Don't start robbing me of my title. That was hard fought for.
It is very well earned at this point. Primary guest host, Dan Hughes. Well, here's the thing. So, Jerry's busy, yada, yada. What's new?
Exactly.
And he called me the day. He's like, we don't have to put out something every week. I think he might be getting jealous. Jealous.
Well, Jerry, if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. That's what I say. There's young bucks here waiting to take over.
The youngsters known as Dan Hughes and Ben Maddox.
Yeah, exactly. We're us greybeards are champing at the bit.
Or chomping. Who knows? So Dan, you messaged me.
I did.
And you said, hey, I'm willing to come on the show. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Thanks, Dan. Then I realized, CoraQuest has an expansion coming out. There's the real reason. There's the reason the volunteer has come.
The volunteer also forgot he volunteered roughly about 5 minutes after he volunteered.
I know.
So when you messaged me this morning and said, are we still okay for today? Obviously, I've got nothing going on.
I'm glad you have nothing going on with your life as well as me.
Yeah. No, mine's through choice, though. Mine's through choice. I've slowly withdrawn from human civilization.
Believe me. Well, I guess mine's not so much. I would play a game or something, but there's no one to play with. We have been moving, Sade. I've been moving for the past 2 weeks, cleaning up the place the occupants where she's moving to previously were in. Getting rid of trash, moving, cleaning. And then this weekend, we've spent all weekend moving her in. So, it's been loads of fun.
Yeah, there's nothing nicer than moving furniture and doing house cleaning. Yeah. It's my favourite activity. I know that much.
Oh yeah, boxing things up, carrying them back and forth to the U-Haul. Nothing like it. Oh, no, nothing like it.
A beautiful, special experience. Gaby. I had to go to a sports presentation evening last night. So it was full of people who really, really like sports, who are very friendly, and who wanted to make me feel as welcome as possible. So needless to say, Gaby, that was absolute hell on earth. It was absolute torture. I could have accepted them being unfriendly, leaving me to my own device, letting me sit there, play on my Marvel Snap until my son's award came up. But no, lots of sitting down and saying, so you're Evan's dad. I always are very good at playing rugby and all this kind of stuff. It's like, So it was upsetting. It was upsetting.
So you're in the Marvel Snap game as well.
Yeah, I'm going to delete it. I'm starting getting annoyed with it. There's people on there are doing some... There's very limited means of doing antisocial behaviour on that game. But they're doing it and it's annoying me.
I've downloaded it, but I'm not. There's the thing. I download all these app games. I may play them once or twice and then I just don't play them.
Well, that's fine, because that's all the Russian and Chinese spies want you to do, is just download the apps in the first place.
That's true.
So as long as you've got them on your phone and they can spy on what you're doing, they don't mind if you play it or not, to be honest.
And there's a Gaby robot clone walking around somewhere now.
Exactly.
What he's doing, I don't know. Creating content for the spies. That's what he's doing.
Indeed. They're using you as you're basing your personality off as a Twitter bot who's spreading disinformation. That's what's happening, Gaby.
I wonder if he has the lights that I do. Yeah.
Well, mate, stop changing your light. You're not impressing anybody. Ladies and gentlemen, this man has a number of cheap. Oh, and he's even got the obligatory. So he's been on flipping Wish or AliExpress or something like that, and he's downloaded
Alibaba.com.
Alibaba, yeah, whichever, and he's downloaded a bunch of cheap strip light LEDs, and he's spent a good few hours fastidiously taping them up all over the room.
Yes,
all to look like some kind of
here's the thing.
Twitch streamer.
Here's the thing. Other than the Jeff Foxworthy video, and now this one, which I know that'll get more further hits than the Jeff Foxworthy. Here's the problem. We recorded Jeff Foxworthy. Unless he sticks to his word and actually does mention us on Jimmy Fallon, no mentions for us on. It's like getting a big guest does not help you unless that big guest promotes it.
No.
We extract his on our Podbean. We have fewer downloads for him than we did the week after. Me and Ben.
That's true.
Although the YouTube does have like a few hundred, like 300 or 400 downloads that my stats on Podbean don't recognize because they were uploaded separately. Because I'm all about them stats, you know.
I know you're about the stats.
But it's still irritating.
Stop looking at the stats.
It's still
Stop looking at the stats.
Stop interrupting.
Listen, big guests do nothing for you because
they do not.
If they're too big, then they don't promote. You need people
because they don't care. They're not worried about the little man.
You need people who are desperate to come on because they've got
CoraQuest.
They've got tin pot products to plug and things like that. That's who you need because they'll be desperate to. I went on a podcast the other day and they said, "Oh, I really enjoy your work on the Board Game Snobs." What's that about? I'm not happy about that at all.
Are you serious?
Yeah, they didn't mention Spanity Board, didn't mention anything like that. You saying, I listened to you on Board Game Snobs and you're really good. It's like, I'm better on my podcast when I'm, not phoning it in.
I don't know. It comes down, I guess, who's better, me or Mike?
That is a hard choice.
No, I'll tell you, it's Mike. It's Mike, 100%. No. He doesn't interrupt your podcast adjusting cameras and drinking beer and everything else.
No, it's true. He just doesn't be available. That's all.
As the World Spurns, episode 3.
Yeah, exactly. Here we are, two lonely podcasters.
Did you know?
What? I knew everything. Go on. Ask me, I'll tell you.
The world's only asparamancing reads the future in asparagus. Have you heard about this?
No, I'm glad I haven't. Is it does he read it in the asparagus itself, or is it the pungent after smell? Did you know?
I'm not done with mine. Did you know?
Well, how about we listen to an interesting one first, and then we do your ones.
I paused for just a second. Says the
future. I didn't know you were adjusting your lights again. Go on, carry on.
This is from I don't even know what this website is. Doesn't matter. The future has been told by tea leaves, a deck of cards, the lines on our palms, a book of ancient Chinese wisdom, and especially prescient octopus, and now by asparagus. Here we go. This is the reason I have this for you. Jemima Packington of Bath, England, the world's only asparamancer, is able to divine what will happen not by casting, not by tossing, but casting spears of asparagus onto a flat surface and reading the patterns.
No, that's the same as casting stones and sticks, isn't it? I don't... What's her name again? Jemima? Surely that's a duck's name. Is she a duck?
Jemima Packington of Bath. Where's Bath in relation to you?
South.
No,
it's pretty posh is Bath. Do you know why it's called Bath?
I'm assuming it's the first time an Englishman took a bath there.
Pretty much.
Yep.
Yeah. It's where all the Roman baths were. in Roman days. So there you go.
When they came, when the Romans came and civilized your people, they're like, "Hey, come clean up down here."
Yeah, probably. I would imagine.
You Saxons? Is it the Saxons that are the?
I think it might have been before. I think it might have been the Picts and the Mattiers. I don't know.
I don't know the history of your own people.
No, I don't. No, not that in depth. I don't know who was first and who was second. I think the Anglo-Saxons, that was after the Romans.
Well, we know who was first here. Christopher Columbus, clearly.
It was the Vikings, wasn't it? That's what I heard. and that's the Western people. Obviously, it was the Native Americans first as well.
Yes. I said that in jest, Dan. I said that in jest.
I know. But still, you haven't heard my interesting asparagus facts yet. Right, okay. This is a barely remembered fact which may or may not be true. So it's got that little frisson of excitement to it as well.
Mm-hmm.
But does your pee smell when you've eaten asparagus?
Me personally?
Yes.
No.
It does. You just can't smell pee, asparagus-flavoured pee. That's all. Everybody's pee smells when they have eaten asparagus. It's just some people can smell it and some people can't. So the issue isn't within your pee, it's within your nose.
Oh, so you're blaming me. I'm the reason.
I'm blaming your giant hooter.
You're nose shaming. That's what you're doing. You're shaming my nose.
True. And there's enough of that nose to shave. By golly. What a conk.
Look at this.
What a hooter.
My mother always said I have a Roman nose. That's what she always said.
Yeah. Roman all over your face. That's what it's doing.
Nose shamer. Nostril shaming. How dare you?
Yeah. I went to Essen. Gaby, do you want me to tell you about Essen?
Okay, let's talk about Essen. Ben did this last week. Let's get your side of the story.
I don't know.
I'm sure you didn't listen to Ben's episode because you weren't on it, but go ahead.
I'm too busy to listen to your podcast unless I'm on it. Okay. No. Ben probably was waxing his effusive about Essen, how wonderful community it is.
Oh, yes. He loves it. He absolutely loves it.
It's all right. It's like a big shop is all it is.
That's because he gets to rub elbows with Martin Wallace and the like.
I nearly rubbed elbows with Wallace. Was on the plane on my way home.
I know. I said Martin Wallace, more like Martin Follow Us, and he followed you all the way home.
He did, and almost onto the bus. We got to the car park.
Like Martin, I'm getting uncomfortable now.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, but no. It's all right. I won't have to talk about it more than that. It's all right. I think Ben thinks it's a lot better than it actually is. I think it's built up in Ben's mind to be something amazing when in reality all it is a bunch of shops. Just a bunch of shops, Gaby.
Well, I mean, he was not impressed with the town of Essen. He just likes the Essen Spiel as being the mecca of Yeah,
the Spiel's just a bunch of shops. I'm sure Gen Con's, I'm sure Gen Con's better than Essen. I'm sure it will be.
Really?
Yeah. But I'm not a blatant consumerist capitalist like Ben Maddox is. I mean, if there's one thing we know about Ben Maddox is he's a completely kind of capitalist right-wing Tory. So that's why he likes it, because of all the kind of raw capitalism going on.
Look, y'all can do y'all's subliminal English politics. I don't understand. I don't even know what a Tory is. Tory is a girl's name here in America. I don't know.
It's a conservative.
Tory, short for Victoria. Is that what that comes from? Queen Victoria?
No, it doesn't. No, I don't know where it comes from. You've caught me unprepared for this podcast.
You have very little knowledge about your peoples, is what I'm discovering.
I'm not a historian, it's true.
You're a game maker. Game maker of CoraQuest. Check it out now on Kickstarter. Questing more. Oh, are you going to make a Coraverse?
What?
A Coraverse. So I thought about all these different brands of gaming, like Cora's Farm could be like the new Agricola. Cora Run could be like a racing game.
There's possibilities. Not that you've ever played the game, so you wouldn't know, but it is set in the world, and there are possibilities of other games being set in the world. Games that even I haven't designed.
I've waited for Jerry to bring the copy he has, but his children are so attached to it. That's how great it is.
Well, you've got just the opportunity to back a copy now on Kickstarter, along with the expansion.
I'm expecting my reviewer's copy. That's what I'm expecting.
Well, I'll tell you what, you stand by that mailbox. You stand by that mailbox, Gaby, and you wait. That's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to, as soon as this podcast's open, run outside and sit by the mailbox and just wait for it to arrive. I promise you it will soon.
You could have Cora fights, and it's like the war version, or Cora control, the area control version. Like you could do every aspect of gaming, but with Cora's name in the Coraverse.
In the Coraverse, yeah. No, I don't think so. But, as I said, there might be some games coming out
you said that
by other designers.
You said that when Jerry asked you about designing a game. The next thing we know, there's Cora. So I'm expecting soon Cora Run to be available on Kickstarter.
I'm pretty sure if I hadn't been on the podcast that time, it wouldn't have been anywhere in my mind, and I wouldn't have suggested to Cora the day after if she wanted to design a board game. I'm pretty sure we can put most of the success of CoraQuest, not down to you, Gaby, but down to Jerry, the absent member.
That's true. He did ask you about it. So what I'm expecting now also is we have the children's game. And that is what you freely admit it is, right? It's a children's game.
No, I don't. It's a family game.
Family game. Okay. I have not played it, so I hope to be able to give my 2 cents worth soon. Or is that a shilling for you? I don't know. My 2 cents worth will soon be applied to what I think about CoraQuest. I want to play it because I do. We've only played what do they call that, dungeon crawler? Like, we played one called Omega Protocol or something.
Oh, it's good, that.
And it was that was like one of our first games, and I think it was too much for me at the time. I wasn't prepared for Omega Protocol. That's why I'm like, CoraQuest might be what I need to start off into dungeon questing in.
Might be, yeah.
But I was thinking, this is the family level. You could do the step up the heavy game to Dan Quest.
I like it. Or in Gaby Quest, which is a step down from the CoraQuest level. Who knows?
That would be the kids' version. It's just color.
I don't know.
It's just colors that kids point to. That's all that game would be.
I don't want to. Ben always accused me of making these absolute statements. I don't think I do make that many absolute statements, but I don't want to make any absolute statements about it. I don't know if there's any more in me, but then again, I've said that before. So, whatever.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Since you don't know about your history of your land, quite interesting. You know them, don't you?
Yes, the
QI
paddle show.
Yeah. Most Brits have said "I love you" to 3 or fewer people.
Right.
Does that sound about right for you?
Why? I don't know.
Why is that? Are the British people not free?
What the hell is this?
Are you not free with your emotions? What's the deal?
Of course we're not free with our emotions.
Why not?
Because it's improper to be free with your emotions.
Is that because the royals have told you to be so?
It leaves you vulnerable to attack, Gaby. Well, maybe we classify love as a different thing to American. Maybe we don't love everybody and everything and loud Hawaiian shirts and country and western music. Maybe we was just reserved for those people we truly have deep meaningful feelings for, like our significant others and our children, perhaps. I think that's the only people I've really said.
Really interesting, because when we watch these shows...
Hang on a second. I don't think that's true anyway, because I'm about as emotionally stunted as you can get, and I've said I love you to more than 3 people.
I haven't heard it.
No, it's odd that, isn't it? But I'm pretty certain I've said it to my parents. That's 2. My wife, clearly. And I say it to my children all the time. So that is 7 people.
Okay.
Yeah. So I may have said it to other my siblings, but I don't think so. I don't think that's the kind of thing I would say to a sibling.
I will say I think the word here does get thrown around a lot looser. Like, people would just say, "All right, love you guys, bye."
Yeah, wouldn't say that.
You would never say that.
No.
Like, I know lots of people that that's their standard goodbye. Love you,
and
bye.
Then they go home to their their spouse, and they have the same depth of feeling towards their spouse as that.
All right, now,
I
husband
have the
or
same
wife, love you, night.
Yeah, love you, night. I've got the same level of feeling for you as I do those random acquaintances from work I just say goodbye to. Bye-bye.
So how long was it after dating?
I'll probably go to your funeral.
How
I
long
won't think
was
about
it?
it much after that.
How long was it after dating Carrie? You said love.
I don't know. This is getting highly
I can tell you.
I thought this was a...
you thought this was what? You know what show you were coming on.
I didn't know it was investigating to Dan's personal relationship.
No, Brits, period. I've watched Downton Abbey, and they rarely said it on there.
Downton Abbey is not representative of the majority of the United Kingdom, I'm afraid to say.
Bunch of Edwardians, am I right?
We usually only have at least only one servant each, not an entire raft of them. Yeah.
Okay, so tell me about your Essen experience.
There's nothing to tell. It was all right.
You asked me if you want to talk about it.
I was trying to get the topic on. I was trying to start some topic instead of your Twitch streaming career. I was trying to get it going.
Let me get my
one of us had to
disco
try and
lights
move. I was grasping for a topic of conversation.
Okay.
One of us had to move the podcast forward.
All right.
I thought Essen was all right. Afterwards, I had really, really bad toothache, which kind of soured it in my mind for me because I've had a horrific time over the last couple of weeks.
Yes, you said that on your podcast.
Yeah, I said that on my podcast. But Essen was okay. It
Sporadically
was nice.
Bored with Mike DeLizio.
Yeah. And it was okay. That's about it, really.
Do you prefer Essen or UKGE?
Essen, because I don't like UKGE at all.
Ben
I don't like any
feel
cons.
the same way. No.
Yeah, well, UKGE is the worst of both worlds, in my opinion. It's got the supermarket, just blatant shopping consumerism of Essen. And then it tries to have open gaming and things, but all the open gaming is in really kind of unpleasant surroundings, in my opinion. Big warehousey type environments, and I just don't enjoy gaming with that level of noise going on. So I would rather have 5 or 10 people in a room playing board games. I'm done with conventions. I really am. I think they're overrated. The good thing about conventions, the only thing I really enjoy about conventions is seeing people that I like. Again, that's what I like about it. And I went to Dice Tower Retreat, and that was good because I got to meet a load of cool people. But even then, to a certain extent, you were in a big room with games going. It was just a bit overstimulating for me. I prefer a more intimate, a more relaxed environment for my gaming.
I understand. That's why I would say the reason I like BGG is that the library enables you to try all these games I would normally never buy before I tried, etc.
Yeah.
And of course, BGG is primarily focused on gaming as opposed to, they do have a vendor hall, but it's probably quite insignificant compared to any other con, really.
Yeah.
And I that's what I like.
And you've got people you know there as well, haven't you? I'm sure if I went to BGG Con every year, I would like it. I mean, I like Aircon because I go and see people I know there and things like that. But I still would rather go just game with 4 people in my house.
A game, a weekend with friends is what you would prefer.
Yeah, that's what I prefer. But as I get older, I'm becoming less and less likely to want to mix with anybody else. I don't know if it's my age or whether it's COVID, but I said to a few people, I think COVID really damaged my sociability.
Yeah, I'm sure it did. Me as well. And also, I'm the same way. I was like, I'm not as social as I used to be. And I used to be really social.
Yeah.
Like, I love...
I never used to be really social. I've never been really social.
Oh, really?
But, yeah, well, I can be in certain circumstances. I can be life and soul in certain circumstances. But it's always taken effort. But when I got into gaming, I became really quite more social. I was organising games days. I was doing all sorts of stuff. I organising these weekends away and things. And now I just can't be bothered. I just can't be bothered. People irritate me too much. That's the problem. If everybody would be, the perfect other people, then
like me,
life would be a bit easy. Exactly, Gaby. If you lived if you live next door, we'll be gaming a lot. But you don't. Unfortunately, you've chosen to selfishly live on the other side of the world.
I chose to be born in Arkansas.
You've chosen to be scared of flying, so you can't come and visit.
Flying is absolutely terrifying.
I've got off it.
Did you have to? Do you fly to Essen, or can y'all like ride trains to there?
You can get a train, you can drive, but
what'd you do?
I flew.
You flew?
Yeah. It was a pain. It's only an hour. It was a real pain because we got there too early, but because I'm paranoid about missing the flight. So Mike the pilot pool was very kind in getting there early with me, and then the plane was delayed, so it took another 2 hours to get on the plane.
So
it was just
how long would it take to take a train there?
I don't know. Probably best part of a day.
Well,
12 hours, I'm guessing.
Okay, well, then that makes sense. That's what, like, some of these things, it's like by the time you go to the airport and 2 hours early, check in, wait in line, the plane gets delayed, then you land.
But you'd still have to go through passport control and things like that, I'm assuming, on a train.
So it still makes up for it. That's the unfortunate thing about flying. It's like, because we thought about going to Origins, and I was like, man, I really don't want to go, because I think that's in Columbus, Ohio, I think. And that's like a 12-something plus hour drive. It's a good long ways from where we live. And Cherry's like, we could just take the plane. It's a couple-hour flight. I was like, yeah, but if you consider getting there early, it's like, no, you still save half a day flying as opposed to just driving down there. So it's as much as I hate flying, it's just so much faster.
We left because one of our flights was cancelled. We left my house. I left my house at 4 a.m. in the morning to get to Essen, and by 3, I was in the actual gaming halls at Essen, and that was a big delay to the flight as well. So that wasn't too bad, really.
So I heard you talking about your food at Essen. Is there any drinking in Essen?
Yeah, well, there was a bit of drinking in Essen. We just had some beers in the car park. Had some beers with Johnny Pack. Do you know Johnny Pack?
I know of him. He had made a fistful of meatballs and the other one that we didn't care for a whole lot. It's like rondelles, and then you have a shootout.
I've enjoyed some of his games, but not all of them. But mind you, I wasn't really drinking with him. I was drinking with Mark Cook, who's the publisher of CoraQuest, which is on Kickstarter. The
keep on questing.
Right, I keep on questing. Right.
How much thought did you put into that title?
We quite a bit of thought, and we put a I couldn't work out what to call it because expansions are hard, man. And then I put a poll on Facebook, on the Facebook group, asking for suggestions for people to name. And the overwhelmingly top answer to
let me
that
guess.
was
Quest Face?
No. It was along those kind of lines. In that it was quite funny, but I didn't want to use it. Yeah. It was more request. So CoraQuest more request.
That's pretty good.
It's quite good, but written down it doesn't.
A little too meta.
It doesn't. Yeah, a bit too meta. So we decided to go with keep on questing.
Yeah.
But yeah. Mark was there, and Ben Maddox was there for a brief moment, and then he disappeared off to schmooze with the high and mighty, no doubt. No, it was nice. It was nice. I mean, it was nice to catch up with people, as I say. But I'm not the fan of it. Ben is.
Well, here back in the southwest of northeast Texas and southeast Oklahoma, we've been up to nothing, Dan. We've been up to nothing. Jerry's still building his house, and as of this recording,
is he doing it himself? Is he actually building his house?
No, he's doing nothing.
Has he got his shirt off and he's got nails in his mouth?
He's not a manual laborer, Ben. Dan. Oh, my apologies.
How dare you? How dare you? Just because we're both British and got grey beards. Ben Maddox, I'll have you know, is almost a his reputation is so, I don't know. He's such a sleazy guy, isn't he? Such a sleazy reprobate. That's what I was asking. And
I hear the accent and you all sound the same. Is that how you feel about us?
No. Well, yes. You can tell the difference between American South and American north, and maybe kind of Fargo type country. You can just about pick it up there.
Yeah.
And some people, but I can't really tell the difference between any of them, to be honest. But I rarely listen. That's the thing. But an American speaking, I kind of turn off, and it's kind of going, just birds
All
start
you're hearing
tweeting
is,
in my ears.
oh, y'all, how y'all doing? Drank a beer, shot a gun.
Guns. So that's all we hear. So that's why I can't tell.
Do
the
you know
difference.
what a ladybug is? Do y'all have ladybugs?
I do know what a ladybug is, but we wouldn't call it a ladybug over here. We would call it a ladybird.
Ladybird. Interesting. Do you know they're not ladies at all? You know why?
Because they're both genders. Because they have to breed.
Well, that's possibly an excellent point. But more specifically, they eat their young. They are cannibalistic. According to this article I have here, it says it's hard not to smile when you spot a ladybug, but they may not seem so cute once you find out they're cannibals. An adult ladybug typically eats around 50 aphids, or is that aphids?
Aphid, yeah, no,
aphid. Sap-sucking insects that gardeners despise per day. But when there's not enough food around, they'll devour ladybug larvae. And
that's the same with most animals.
And even other young ladybugs.
I've had a chomp on my child's leg when there's been nothing in the cupboards.
Is Cora got a piece of her leg missing by any chance?
Yeah, a big chunk out of her thigh where I've had a good chomp down. No, in the UK there's a big problem with Asian ladybirds, which are slightly different species and invasive, and they're killing all the native ladybirds. So you're meant to squash them if you ever see them.
Why do you call them birds? Because they fly?
Possibly. I wasn't involved. I wasn't in that committee naming them. I'm guessing it's because they fly. I don't know.
This is according to the BBC, so they're calling them ladybugs.
No, is it an article? No, they're not. So they
okay. Well, they're lying then. This new side-eye randomly pulled.
You're getting a second-hand article, aren't you? The article's saying according to the BBC.
According to the BBC, we heard the BBC said their ladybugs are eating each other.
Well, right, okay.
How tough it would be. How tough it would be to be in the... You're going up, Mama. Oh, hello, darling. I'm a bit hungry. You don't need those 3 legs, do you?
Lots of animals eat their own young, though, surely.
That's horrific. I love cats more than anything, and cats can be quite cruel in the wild.
Yeah. And chimpanzees can as well.
Do they eat their young?
They murder each other, don't they?
Oh, my God. I've watched... Okay. Tarzan, the original Tarzan Greystoke, is it? That's like from the 80s?
Well, it's not the original Tarzan, but yeah.
Well,
okay.
Okay, not the original. Not the one with the diver from the 50s or whatever.
Johnny Weissmuller.
Yes.
And
who was the original Tarzan? Was that Christopher Lambert?
It was in Greystoke. Stop saying it's original Tarzan. You mean in Greystoke?
Okay, the 80s
reboot
movie.
That was Christopher Lambert, yes. Yeah.
Wow, look at that. I pulled that right from my butt because I don't even know. I haven't seen it in years. I just remember watching it with my parents, and we were all mortified at how somewhat violent it was as the chimpanzees beat him. You remember that?
No, I'm too busy looking at... You're doing that wah, Christopher Lambert, wah. I'm looking at ladybirds and ladybugs. Because it shouldn't be ladybugs either because they're beetles. So it should be... Mind you, bug includes beetle, I'd say.
Yeah, it's an insect. All insects are bugs.
Yeah.
A spider. A spider's also a bug, FYI.
I would agree. I would agree. I don't remember Greystoke. I haven't got an intimate knowledge of Greystoke, unfortunately. But I will believe you when you say, I've been to see chimpanzees in zoos and they're always attacking each other and stuff. They're horrible animals.
Violent. And eventually they're going to take over the world. I've seen the movie.
That's the rumour.
They're making another movie as well. I look forward to that.
Yeah. Well, I haven't seen any of them because they're too apocalyptic for me. I don't like apocalyptic stuff.
Well, have you been playing any games, Dan? Let's get to game talk on the Board Game Snobs and Friends podcast.
Yeah, I've been I've been playing some games. I've been playing lots of games at the Daytime Retreat, but I've talked about most of those. I played a game today because I thought I'm going to go on the Board Game Snobs podcast. Let's play a game. So I played Resist. Have you heard of Resist?
I have, and I wanted it, and Jerry, I think, says he has a copy, but I have not played it.
It's a solo-only game. It's set in 1936. The Marquis, who are a bunch of resistance fighters.
They were in Star Trek Voyager. Yes, I know that.
I know. I was saying this to my wife. I was saying I didn't know it was the actual name of a political movement. I just thought they were in Star Trek Deep Space Nine, I think you'll find. But also Voyager, I'll give you that. They were the Bajoran Rebellion. And then my wife said, and they're also nobility in rank and ability. But I think that's Marquis rather than Marquis. Anyway, so you're playing a resistance fighter fighting against the fascist regime in Spain in the late 30s, and it's really good. It's really, really good. I'm not a massive solo game player, but it was so thematic, and I got so excited. And your band of resistance fighters are becoming less and less powerful as they get carted off and arrested and all that kind of stuff. And you're attacking various things, and you've got to choose where to attack, and you spy on it first to see the levels they've got there. And it was just the theme just screamed out of the game, yet it was still a really interesting game as well. It was really, really good. I highly recommend Resist. I got that at Essen, and I'm very glad I did.
Did the thing come about through gameplay or through art?
Both, but gameplay as well, because you're choosing to either your cards have got kind of two sides to them. There's a hidden side and the exposed side, and the same character on the card, but it's basically your hidden side might be a vicar, and they're kind of secretly fighting against, resisting the thing. And then when you expose, the vicar suddenly gets a machine gun and stuff like that. Well, it wouldn't be a vicar actually doing that, but whatever. But when you do that, you expose, so then you get arrested and things like that. It was just great. And the whole risks of being in a resistance cell and the need to keep hidden, but yet the need to expose yourself in order to carry out missions and stuff like that. That was it was just really good. It reminded me a bit of the Grizzled. A lot of people said that.
I was fixing to say the Grizzled, yeah.
Yeah, and it's got a similar art style in that it's cartoony, but grown up cartoony. But it's not quite the same as the Grizzled. I even thought I might pick up the Grizzled again, actually, to go with it, because that would be.
I bought that Grizzled. Yeah, you can with that one with expansion.
Oh, I can't be doing expansions.
Something orders, Grizzled following orders or something.
Right.
It's good. I liked it solo. It was fine, but basically you're just two-handing it. That's all you're doing.
Right.
I bought the Grizzled that had the miniatures and everything. Like I really like the Grizzled, and I got the miniatures because otherwise you get the standees. They're fine, but the miniatures were really nice. They were already painted and everything. Literally never played it. Just never played it. So I sold it. I didn't want to, but I sold it. I was like, sometimes I got to get realistic with myself and say, my family's not going to play it with me. Jerry was just not that sold on it, and it's just I'm here by myself, so I just sold it.
Yeah, the Grizzled is almost one of those games which I think is worth keeping for the art alone. I think it's a beautiful piece of art.
Yeah,
it's Grizzled. I owned it and sold it as well. I'm not. Well,
but, I have the original, just the original game still.
Right. Okay.
But I bought that one thing that had the minis in it, and it's like a campaign style too. And I would have liked to played it, but that's just the
Armistice edition is what you bought.
Armistice, yes, that's what it was. Yeah. But it sold quite well, so if you need to sell a copy, it will sell quite well because the minis are nice. I wish I had gotten to use them.
Yeah.
Here's what I've been playing, Dan.
I'm not interested in that.
Regicide.
Regicide?
Have you played Regicide?
No, that's Killing Kings, isn't it?
Yes. This game was all the rage probably a year ago because Space Biff talked about it. I think so very wrong about games. There's several of these, highfalutin podcasts.
The respected podcasts that I don't pay attention to.
Right. Yeah. They discovered it, played it. you can play it with a 52 card deck. That's the best thing about it. And it is quite good.
How are you using quite? Are you using it the English way, which means not very?
No.
Or are you using it the
American way.
Right.
It's very good, in my opinion. In my humblest of opinions.
When has your opinion ever been humble?
I'm very humble.
I've never seen such an arrogant man in my entire life.
Every suit does something specific. You take all the face cards, you take all the kings, the queens, and the jacks. You shuffle them, you shuffle the kings, set them down, shuffle the queens, set them down on top, shuffle the jacks, set them down on top, and then you go to battle. The jacks can attack you with, I forget now, 20 points, I think. Their attack is 20. No, sorry. Their health is 20. Their attack is 10. So first thing you do is attack them with a number card. So if I attack them with an 8, well, it will subtract 8 points. It's basically like war, but you're taking them down as far as their health points. Mm-hmm. But every suit that you have does something. Clubs is a double attack. If I attack them with a 6 of clubs, well, it's actually a 12.
So hang on a second. So how are you doing that? Are you just playing the cards out your hand here?
You draw up a certain amount of cards, and you can play solo, or you can play up to 4 players.
And it's just a set of rules, is it? You don't get the
You can
cards.
literally download the Regicide app. It's free. And the app will tell you you can just push the clubs on the app, and it will say, okay, what clubs are you playing? Oh, the 6, and it will do all of the math for you, which is the math is a pain in the butt, so having the app is fantastic. The app does all the work for you. And the solo, which is what I've been playing because I have no one to play games with, I realized the app, I was sitting here trying to play analog and do the math, and I was just using the app, and I was like, what's this start solo game? Now they just all have it in a digital format, and you can just play it all on the phone.
Okay.
And I like it a lot. I played it with Jerry, and he was like, meh. But Jerry's, I don't know. I like it a lot.
He's an idiot. He needs to get back to building his house. That's what I say. Get him
done.
How we want to see him with his shirt off, sweat coming down his body, glistening and oil, tool belt, drinking Diet Coke, and me and you hanging out the window going, whoa, hey, like that.
He doesn't sweat. He has an issue where he can't sweat.
Like Prince Andrew.
He will... supposedly he will overheat and die or pass out if he gets too hot.
Well, why is it? Surely you should move. Your area is not a good area.
He's in the wrong spot. That's for sure.
He is in the wrong spot. Yeah.
So apparently, according to Jerry, once his house is built, he'll have his room, and that he'll have so much more time available to do all the things we need to do.
But he's not even building it himself.
No, he's not building it.
Why would he have more time if he's not building it himself?
You know what? He's not even doing it. His wife is doing all the subcontracting because his wife is infinitely more intelligent than Jerry. Mm-hmm. So she's taking care of all the business. She knows what she's doing and talking about. But supposedly, once he gets his house built, things will calm down and we'll have more time for everything. So promises, promises, promises.
I've heard all that before.
Yeah.
Yeah, from a certain Mr. Mike DeLisio.
As the world spurns.
As the world spurns. Exactly.
But Regicide, if you look up Regicide, you can just take a 52 card deck. It's very simple.
That's something that I really often, and I even ended up pursuing it for a little while, but never got anywhere with it. I often think, do you know what I should do? Is just play more normal existing card games. So I ended up buying a big book of every card game in the world type thing, and I never got round to actually doing it. But the enjoyment I get out of playing cards, a card game, like Skull King, which I know you'll poo-poo and stuff like that. But you're right. There'll be plenty of traditional trick-taking card games.
You got hearts, you got spades,
clubs, diamonds. I know all the suits. I'm halfway there.
But there's no game called clubs.
I bet there is.
I bet there is, actually. Gin Rummy, though. Gin and Rummy or Gin Rummy. I loved those games growing up before I knew board games.
Exactly. And there's no difference really in them. It's just that you can't spend loads and loads of money on it. So us as foolish consumers don't buy it. But I bought this big book of card games, and I kept thinking to myself, I need to get a group of people round and try a new card game every 2 weeks or something like that. And just
as long as I've always hated Crazy Eights. It's basically Uno. I've hated Crazy Eights. You know what Crazy Eights is? It's literally Uno. I hate that game. But Regicide is really good. It's basically, like I said, I've always liked you know what war is, right?
I know. What is it good for?
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. Yeah, I know that, yeah.
So you flip over 2 cards, and if mine is higher than yours, I beat you. So I get your card.
That's not a proper game.
I get your card. Yeah, it's a stupid game. But this game, you're trying to defeat all the face value cards, and as you go from Jack to Queen to King, of course they become more powerful, and it takes more to beat them, and there is strategy because of the suits. You have to prepare yourself to rebuild your hand, and the diamonds allow you to put more cards back in your hand. It's a great game. It really is, especially for a 52 card deck of cards you can play anytime, anywhere. But having the Regicide app is a huge plus. So check it out, Dan.
I'm going to check it out. I'm just been Googling it on...
and it's a co-op game. You can play it co-op too.
Yeah. I'm not really into co-op games. I like co-op games at the moment because I've kind of got in my head that I want to play more solo games. Mr. Cabbagehead's Garden, that's another game I want to get. I had it and then I sold it, and I was foolish because I can't find it again now.
I've heard of that. I've never played it.
It's good. It's nice solo game.
Other than that, I've played nothing. I've done nothing. My friend Jerry.
Waste of space, aren't you?
He's supposed to come over this Friday, and hopefully we get to play something.
He's too busy on tiling his roof.
Hopefully his bare shoulders glistening in the sun as he tiles his roof. How do you tile a roof, Dan?
What do you mean?
Is it a roof or a roof? Roof? Roof.
It depends on the accent, surely. I would call it a roof.
What are multiple roofs? Is it roofs? Like hooves?
Yeah, roofs. Yeah, roofs.
Like hoofs and hooves?
Yes.
Roofs and roofs?
Just keep saying the same word over and over again, Gaby. It makes you sound really intelligent. What do you mean, how do you tile a roof?
I thought it was multiple roofs. Roofs.
You just tile it, don't you? So they've got little holes in, and you knock nails through the holes.
That's called shingles. Those are shingles, Dan.
They're not shingles. Shingles are floppy, aren't they?
Yeah.
Tiles are made out of stone.
You tile your roofs in England?
My roof is made out of slate. So that's slate, which is stone.
That's not
there's
stone.
A lot of the roofs around here are made out of stone, just sandstone.
Huh.
Slabs of sandstone.
You don't see that a whole lot around these parts.
No. Well, we tend to don't use wood as a housing building material. Certainly not on the outside. So all your houses are made of plastic and aluminium, as far as I can tell. Ours are all made out of stone or brick.
Yeah, and that's why England has things that are thousands of years old.
Yeah. I'm not. Yeah, it's about the weather, isn't it? I mean, they wouldn't be all made out of brick if we had your climate.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right. Well, I think we've reached what we're talking about. We're talking about roofs and roofs.
I was too confused by the time difference to get fully prepared for this, and the 2-hour preparation where you had to move all your cameras around and stuff like that.
That was 5 minutes, Dan. 5 minutes.
At least 3 hours.
A phone call from Sade ruined everything. I have a very sensitive system over here it takes the bare minimum to mess it all up.
Fair enough.
So when can we look forward to another sporadically bored episode?
We've only just had one last week.
Oh, so a good 3 months from now?
3 weeks. Every month we tend to put one out.
When are you going to have me back on your show, Dan?
Well, never, because neither of us like you. We got together and we decided that neither of us like you.
Fine.
Well, we'll have you on soon. We only do one every 12 a year. You can't it's not like your
we have
podcast.
a whole chaos from order from chaos that never
Shut
got
your
aired.
face.
Never got
Shut
aired.
your face. I'm not sure where the files are. That's the main issue with that. But maybe I will look into it. Look, I'm a busy man. I can't be expected to be held up to these high levels of expectations of putting out podcasts and stuff like that. I've got CoraQuest.
Here, I thought you were part of the Dice Tower Network.
I've got CoraQuest. Yeah, only barely though. Let's face it. I contribute to them less often than I put out a podcast.
All right.
Yeah, but if you want to back the CoraQuest expansion, and you can get the base game in that as well, although the base game should be available in the shops very, very soon, if not now. When's this dropping? Anyway, when's this?
This will be. I don't have my phone.
Wednesdays?
My phone is being used as a camera. So this Wednesday, which is probably the second. It's the second.
Yeah. So
November 2nd.
There's still weeks left on the CoraQuest Kickstarter if you want to back the expansion, and you can also back the base game in there as well. But
I'll have the link in the show notes, Stan. You ever heard of that?
Hey.
Although I find that doesn't do much good unless you talk about it. So, hey, join our Patreon at Board Game Snobs.
Certainly
Patreon.
Join the Patreon at Board Game Snobs. Did you see at Essen I was representing the Board Game Snobs with my Board Game Snobs
t-shirt?
t-shirt
I did see that,
on?
and I appreciate that very much.
Yeah, and I was representing the Board Game Snobs at the Dice Tower retreat as well.
I like that.
First day of both those conventions, I had the Board Game Snobs t-shirt on.
And did anyone ever say, hey, who are those people?
I'm going to say, yes, they did.
Oh, thank you.
Because I believe in lying to boost the egos of my friends.
I need it. I really do.
You don't want people to say, hey, I like those guys. You want people to go, Board Game Snobs. And then it subliminally go into their mind. And then later they'll see your logo somewhere and they'll go, oh, click on that. Because for some reason I remember that's the kind of show handsome people listen to.
That's how it works.
So,
subliminally.
Yeah.
We're a subliminal show here.
Yeah. Got to be something going on under the surface, isn't there? Because there's nothing on the surface.
So. No, there's absolutely nothing.
Let's hope there's some kind of deep meaning to all this claptrap.
There is not. No. Dan, thanks for being on the show once
Thank
again
you.
for your 5th or 6th appearance. I've lost track at this point, but
12th,
you are
I think
indeed
it
the
was.
primary guest host.
Yes, in your face, Maddox. Guess who? Now, I don't know if you're aware of this, but Ian O'Toole,
I know him.
His daughters contributed.
The O'Toole daughters. I got it.
Yeah, contributed some art to the base game of CoraQuest. Yeah.
Okay.
Guess which famous board game artist contributed art to the expansion?
I would guess Ian O'Toole.
No. Another famous board game artist's child. Now, what famous board game artist do you know, Gaby?
I know Ian O'Toole.
Oh, no. Do you know who... Now, you may not know, because...
Beth Sobel.
No.
Okay.
I don't know. She's got children. We might ask her next time.
Those the only two.
John Kovalak. Or Kovalik. I think is how you pronounce it. Do you know who he is?
I think I follow his Instagram.
He's the cartoonist behind the cartoon Dork Tower, but he also did all the art for Munchkin, and all that kind of stuff. So his daughter's given us some art for. It amuses me no end. It amuses no one else, but it amuses me no end that we get these famous artists, and then we say, we don't want your work, we want your kids' work. So that's the exciting thing going on there.
And then you can say, well, you're clearly not your father.
Exactly. What's this trash? We say, and then we throw it. No, it's really good. Really good. Which boy she drew for us, which is pretty ace. So there you go. That's my piece of exciting.
Very nice.
If you like John's work, then that's very exciting. There'll be people out there swooning.
Way to name drop.
News.
Appreciate the name dropping.
You're the other one with this Jex Foxworthy.
Jex Foxworthy, yes.
Yeah. Jax Foxes.
Jackson's Foxes, yes.
Yeah.
The famous comedian, Jackson's Foxes.
It's no
All
Fox's
right.
biscuits.
Let's end the show before it becomes more of a catastrophe, Dad.
yeah, this has been pretty shambolic, even
It's
compared
not
to our
my
normal.
fault. It's not my fault. All right, well, that's going to do it for this show. I'm Gaby.
I'm Dan.
We'll see you next time.
Thank you for tolerating this episode of the Board Game Snobs. Stay classy.